And last but not least, welcome Aries to your new moon reading for March 13th through the next new moon on April 12th. This is a reading for the sidereal Vedic new moon in Aquarius. The tropical lunation is in Pisces. And it falls in your 11th house, Aries. It's the house of mentors, helpful people, other people's children, audiences, fans. Can be unions and professional alliances, as well as like conferences, nonprofits, non-governmental organizations, and custody, child support. It's influence from Saturn, since it's a Saturn house for you, and Mercury, since Mercury and Neptune and Venus are there, is going to affect career and work and how you use your voice at work. Let me know if it falls into those themes for you. I'd be very interested in your feedback, as I am always running experiments with astrology. Your Golden Thread Tarot card to begin the reading is the Eight of Swords. This is the hoodwinked card. When it shows up in my own personal reading, I always think I'm buying into the idea that I'm a human on a planet in a body, and that's all I am. And this new moon, very starkly in my opinion, is symbolic of our relationship of our smaller self to our larger self. I get this card in my spread when I am out of alignment with my higher self, when I am not seeing clearly that I am a spirit, that I am a soul in a human body. And I'm having an earth experience, which is not always just a lovely time. It's not an easy place to be, and we do hard work here, lots of understanding for the soul. The opportunity of this new moon is to come into greater communication with our invisible selves, with the life force, the spirit and the soul that animates us. And toward that end, you are being reminded that you're not a body there. You are an Aries. You are the emperor, right? You are the original self. The authority, the structure, the control, the father. You are the one who's making this journey. And that one is not merely material. That one has in some way conquered the material world in order to be able to have these experiences. You made all this. You are the creator of it. Be sure that you don't hoodwink yourself into believing that you're a victim of it. So I'm going to ask to be shown a signifier card, a card that will symbolize you as we begin this reading, a card that will show us your current orientation, how you are interacting with these energies that are coming through at this new moon. There's a strong sense here that if we can confront and come in contact with the wars within ourselves, the difficulties, the troubles, the dissatisfactions we have about how we're living and who we are, that we can affect the outside world wordlessly by controlling our projections upon it. It's very important to remember the concept of Maya and the fact that everything that happens for us here is merely a projection of our own soul, our own way of seeing things. The cards seem a little reluctant to give us a signifier, so I am going to force the issue by cutting this deck 3 times. It doesn't want to pin you down, Aries. It says, I already said I was the Emperor. What more do you need, right? And we'll take the top card off of here, which is the Miser card. So you're showing up as a successful person. I don't want to diminish that fact. In the material world, you have conserved certain resources. You know, you could actually be a conservationist. That's one way of reading this card. You could be frugal, and you could be security-minded. But there's also the possibility of being miserly with this card. Sometimes you're just retaining resources because you're tired, and if you're seeing the world as if you are a material object, that can be tiring. So I could see that. You're covered here, yep, by habit. And this is the Capricorn card, but the devil has a couple of different ways. It's not like a giant demon that chains us to, you know, our hedonistic materialist world, although it does represent materialism. It also represents playfulness and fun and not being so caught up in perception that you forget that you're the one who's perceiving, right? Nothing is bigger or more powerful than you are on the material plane. Hedonism, addiction, those things can make us forget how powerful we actually are here. And when we hand our power over to others, as you may have done in this situation where you're holding on to your resources and you're covered by this devil, you know, it's always important to remember who we really are and to take our power back so that we can move forward with more determination, more consciousness. And it looks like there has been some disappointment as an obstacle. Now, as the obstacle card, the 5 of Cups, while it represents loss and grief, disappointment in the upright, we're reading it here as an obstacle. And as an obstacle, the 5 of Cups can mean acceptance and moving on and finding peace. Maybe after trying to hold on for a very long time, maybe after addiction. You know, there's 3 cups spilled in front of him, but there's 2 more behind him, and there's a bridge over the river to the next town. Moving on is the positive reading of a card of disillusionment and difficulty. And in the reverse, this is a positive card. Sometimes happens that way, doesn't it? Sometimes our certain defeats, our biggest problems, turn out to be our greatest victories as well. And it looks like you got one coming because you're crowned by the Empress. This is the very beginning stages of creation, physical manifestation of creation after the inception of the magician and the intuition of the high priestess. Then we have the Empress, and it's not lost on me that we still have the Emperor buried behind the 8 of Swords there. As a crowning card, this is an extremely fertile symbol, and it means authority. It means, I'm thinking of the Emperor, but this means motherhood, essentially. So, you know, fertility and nature, but creation. Doesn't necessarily have to be natural processes of reproduction. Can be any form of creation. Yay! And your foundation card is the King of Wands. This is the overcoming of obstacles. And since you've got a couple of heavy cards here, it's really nice to see him there. He's a gentleman, a leader, a visionary, usually a married person if we're talking about a person. And he has, you know, his little lizard of moving forward and his lion rampant behind him here. So the natural world is with him. He has mastered the energy of creation and willpower. And these go very, very well together. You are moving away from a time of occluded perception, mystery, difficulty understanding, a lack of clarity. You've been maybe searching for a purpose, and your choices, your daydreaming has not been helpful. It's been confusing and mysterious. You're moving toward the sun. The most beneficial card in the deck, this is joy and celebration, positivity. It's a happy resolution to whatever difficulties needed to be overcome, a creative way forward. And I like that masculine and feminine balance there. It looks like things move from a confusing and scary time to a lot more fun in the sun. That's beautiful. Ooh, but you're still convinced that you're just a person who gave their power away. In this moment, the energy that you're in is not consonant with where you're headed. And that's a comforting thing, right? It's not about these losses. It's about the overcoming of the losses for you. It's not about the addiction, the hedonism, the hoarding, the confusion, the difficulty. It's about creation, overcoming obstacles, and joy. This mood you're wearing is not letting you see that yet. But you got to remember, those swords aren't attached to anything. There's no one guarding her. She could take those bindings off herself and take that blindfold off and see very clearly. And I think you will, because all around you is wish fulfillment. I love this card. It's my favorite for the moment anyway. He is a tavern owner in the medieval world. So think about that, right? Travelers coming through would stop at his place, and he's got not only enough emotional stability for himself, but he's got enough that he can share with others. You know, think about that kind bartender that listens, or the wise counselor, someone at the Airbnb that sits and has breakfast with you and you're troubled, and you know, they not Airbnb, but the traditional bed and breakfast, like somebody who's a true innkeeper would sit and become involved in your life and care about what's happening, and they have enough that they can share. These 9 cups are arrayed out there for others to come partake in, and you know, maybe you'll have like a nice period of time together, and then the next day you'll be able to move on with satisfaction and having had luxury. So all around you there are more positive opportunities, emotional opportunities than what you're allowing yourself right now. And goodness me, then your hopes and fears are emotional contentment. And that's true, isn't it? Like, honestly, good things happen, bad things happen. It's all stressful. Like we have to fear what we hope a little bit. And there's no way out of that. I don't think for humans there's any way to not feel fearful, even when something hopeful is happening. And that's okay. You know, I mean, it's normal, it's natural to feel anticipation, But if this emotional clarity and this this beauty, this kind of fulfillment, dreams coming true, wishes coming true is happening for you, try not to let yourself remain in fear. Try to open your heart, overcome the obstacle, and move toward creativity, toward Venus's gifts. This is a card of collaboration, and being in your outcome, I think it means that you're going to be, moving forward with others as a team. There'll be some interdependence. There's more than one person in your last two cards, and there's the anticipation of other people in your surroundings. So it looks like, this particular person is a craftsman and is showing off what he has created to some wealthy collaborators who will then help create more works of stone like this beautiful archway. And doing that in collaboration, for me, it's all about you aligning with you. And this soul card, the sun, is also about being in alignment with your soul. The number 3 is sacred to this endeavor, to this this moving into unity from this kind of darkness that once was present, a unity that produced something dark, and now there is a unity that is producing things that are light. After the rain comes sun, and after the sun comes rain. We can expect that the cycles of repair, disrepair, and harmony will continue. No matter what else is going on, no matter how much we try to stop the time, create bondage for ourselves, or become confused, we will always be swept up into this cycle of harmony, disharmony, and repair. And it looks like you've got some emotional fulfillment coming out of it. The Valor card, the 7 of Wands, is what underpins your whole reading here. And this person perseveres, this invisible army of of wands that's trying to come after our guy here is met with persistence and, defense. It looks like, I'm hoping that you're not defending this point of view of littleness, smallness, being hoodwinked and disappointed. What I'm hoping you're defending is your soul's tendency toward being open, hospitable, content, sharing, collaborative, and its ability to naturally overcome obstacles in a creative way and move toward the light. It looks like you're having the full catastrophe here. Like you have gotten yourself into a fine mess, but you're moving onward from it. And that's guaranteed in the life of the soul. That's guaranteed in the Anima Mundi. You're connected to heaven by your soul. And if you listen and collaborate with it, you can move into new and joyous spaces. And you can't allow yourself to doubt it, no matter how far down the rabbit hole you have to go. And we all have to go down that rabbit hole. It's not like any one of us, no matter how we try to make it appear, is somehow outside of the suffering of the world. We all live in a world of joy and ache, suffering and elation. Your medicine card is the porcupine. This is my card of original innocence, the one who understands how important play is, how important feeling good for the sake of feeling good is, but also, the original innocence of faith. Aries is not a sign that does not believe in itself, right? It's there. It's within you. Go forward. Make something out of this disaster. And behind it is camouflage. Maybe feeling a little sensitive from recent experiences, a little afraid to be seen, a little afraid to show yourself. But it's good. The fox has plant allies, and the fox likes to be the observer, likes to be undetected as it moves through the forest. It is able to camouflage itself because it recognizes oneness with all things. And it's able to observe and learn from others as it moves along unseen. Just don't lose your innocence in that. There's always the tendency while hiding to become a spy and, vacate your life. I've done it. I know what it's like. I'm really hoping that this new moon finds you safe, whole, happy, healthy, and that as you move in to this cycle, these messages are able to serve you in some way. These symbols are able to guide you. Thank you so much for your interest, your time, and likes, shares, subscribes, and all the things. I really appreciate you, Aries. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks so much.